Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve with Sensus Fidelium coming at you with Clown Planet Daily Wrap Up. You're here for your Monday, Black Belt Monday show, 1st of December 2025. Blessed Charles Foucault Day, Edmund St. Amand Campion, St. Simeon of Cyrene. Yeah, you know him. The Prophet Abraham. There's a bunch on for the first. No big ones for like Orange Shade right up, but if you look on Buthers, there's about 15. Anyway, how are you doing? Good. Thank you for joining me wherever you are. Welcome to let me go ahead and just kill everyone's joy. If you thought that things were bad, I'm going to show you it's getting worse real quick too. Anyways, as you don't need to laugh or to cry, really. You laugh or cry, whatever you want to go with. Let's get right. Well, I forgot to put the Christmas spirit one up. Let's get into Christmas spirit since it's the first of Advent, and everyone just says the heck with Advent anyway. We just go right into Christmas, and then we throw the tree out after everyone unwraps the gifts. Here's the new Christmas tree for the EU. They just unveiled the outside the European Parliament surveillance camera. I know it's a joke. It's because of what happened this past weekend. Here's the new flag. Change the stars and the cameras. Don't worry, that's all coming to these stars and stripes over here. Here's Wide Awake Media starting December 27th. Australia is down in the land down under. Will now need to upload their ID every time they're logged in to do an internet search. It's been put in place to stop kids engaging with adult content, but it actually affects us all. It'll link to your digital ID, or you'll use something like facial recognition. Newsflash: this isn't really to protect children, but extreme totalitarian insertions on freedom and privacy always require a benign and innocent-sounding pretext to dupe the gullible into accepting them without resistance, which, don't worry, that's been happening here with, hey, we got to get we get Texas and all these other guys. Hey, we got to make sure we get IDs, make sure everyone has be able to get on the line so we can keep the kids from watching bad stuff, which sounds all nice and fluffy. Hey, we want this porno scanner here so that we don't have any terrorists blow us up. Oh, sounds cute, sounds innocent. It does nothing for you. Border Patrol is using hidden license plate readers to track drivers and flag suspicious travel patterns, an AP investigation found, raising concerns over secret surveillance. I know we talked about this. This was last week. I mentioned this about the Flock cameras. Don't worry. That was a bunch. This is getting tied together real quick here. An investigation finds the U.S. Border Patrol is secretly monitoring millions and millions of drivers across the U.S. using cameras to scan and record vehicle license plate information. They're looking to identify and detain people whose travel patterns it finds to be suspicious. So maybe down the road, why is that person why are they going there on a Sunday morning? They're up too early. They should be going, they're going to they're going to mass. Well, we got to flag those guys. We got to make sure where they're going. And every time you pass one of those things, they record 80 million license plates a month. Don't worry, that's just now. They'll eventually get more and more and more and more and more and more, because they're just starting. It just started and they get 80 million a month. Wait till it really kicks off. Norfolk, Virginia has been quietly installing hundreds of Flock cameras, enabling mass warrantless surveillance that tracks innocent people's movements. A federal judge has sided with Americans and ordered locations public. A federal judge in Norfolk has made the locations of more than 600 Flock safety surveillance cameras across Hampton Roads public. The first time such a list has ever been released. Local cities and counties have previously denied requests for this information, citing Virginia's open records law and critical infrastructure protections. But now a federal lawsuit claims the city's use of these cameras violates the Fourth Amendment rights. Duh, especially if we live in that stupid 14th Amendment idea. If you're going to play the game and live in the 14th Amendment thing, and all the Bill of Rights go from here to Nicewar to Hop and all that, then this straight up violates 4A. Now, if you don't want to live in the 14th Amendment, which I don't want to either. It's bogus thing. It wasn't even ratified correctly. It wasn't even ratified. But if you don't want to live in that, well, most states have a search and seizures amendment too. So it violates the state amendment. Either way you want to play it, it's going to violate one of those amendments. The complaint filed the Flock system filed in 2024 seeks to stop Norfolk's use of the Flock system and erase the data already collected. Flock cameras offer privacy erosion and mass surveillance, indiscriminate data collection, national data sharing, unauthorized access by federal agencies, easy exploitation for hacking, many use just like a USB stick with no mandatory multi-factor authentication and credentials, and lack of transparency and oversight. I am surprised there ain't nobody out there busting these things up, and there's no reports of anybody just trashing these things like the Ulis guys up in Europe or in England during that time. You remember those guys? They were taking these cameras down. I thought we were the land of the home of the brave and land of the free. What is it? Land of the free and home of the brave? Whatever it is. We're something. We're land of something. And home of the cowards, land of the slave, is it? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, keep not doing anything, but let's just keep watching these things grow like gremlins. Not going to get anywhere. Just if you thought Ring implemented facial recognition was bad, this is the Ring doorbell cameras. They've just partnered with Flock cameras. Law enforcement can now request footage from your neighbors, turning private cameras into a network of digital informants that normalizes mass surveillance in your community. Here's the headline. Amazon Ring security cameras moving deeper into law enforcement with Flock safety access deals. This was October 16th. Guess when it started. Now here's a CNBC link on it, just in case, because someone might go, "Oh, that's just that." Let's see what someone, because it doesn't say what the link is. Well, here's CNBC, the conspiracy theories at CNBC. Amazon Ring security cameras moving deeper into law enforcement with Flock safety access deals. Flock Safety is teaming up with Amazon's Ring Security to offer the public and law enforcement a new way to share video footage that can assist in crime prevention investigations. It's the second recently announced deal bringing Ring security camera footage more deeply into police work and allowing citizens to opt into sharing their cam footage. With access, now there's a link actually says they don't know that they opted in. It's more like an opt-out type deal. With Axon Enterprise also teaming up with the Amazon company. Public debate over crime levels and law enforcement tech remains divisive, but Flock Safety CEO and founder Garrett Langley tells CNBC his approach is simple. Everyone has the right to be safe, and people should be held accountable if they commit a crime. Remember that line about if you trade liberty for safety, you lose both and get neither? Yeah. The guy keeps saying that. Oh, it's for your safety. Yeah, well, delete the data then. Yes, Ring cameras have helped solve. It's not 100% all negative on there. I do get the use of it. I do get that on there. Now, the thing is, Ring was just for the people on there. You had access there, and then you could look at it, but you had to go to the neighbor, or you go to the owner to request the Ring camera from them or see it or anything like this. This is not that. This is just like Flock. Flock can get anybody can look at it. Anybody can listen, look, and you don't need a warrant. Ring is now that. Ring is now a Flock. Let's see. Now I know it's supposed to start today, December 1st. I just was looking to see if it said it in here too. Amazon declined to provide data on Ring cameras. Exact rollout on the Flock platform is not set, but Flock says it's imminent. It's so imminent, it started December 1st, today. So again, all these are in the show notes underneath this right now. If you're watching on YouTube, the link's underneath in the show notes, or go to sensusfidelium.com. I have all the links right there. Hackers get right in. If care to especially cameras inside a home. Yep, and that's one of the things is I turn off Wi-Fi a lot. If I had a connection to go right into the computer, I would just do that. Forget the Wi-Fi, because they can check out, see what you're doing in your house with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, kid can't do it. These kids, modern day kids, can do it. Yes. Here's straight arrow news. A Ring doorbell plus AI, new smart security concerns. And it's just so that maybe Steve's losing his mind. He does that quite often. He looks like a guy that loses his mind a lot.
You ever felt like you're not the only one watching your Ring doorbell? Well, pretty soon that might be the case. Amazon's Ring cameras, a staple on suburban doorsteps, are now part of a much bigger surveillance ecosystem thanks to a new partnership with Flock Safety. Flock runs AI-powered license plate readers and neighborhood-wide camera networks used by police, federal agencies, and ICE. And reportedly, ICE is accessing Flock's license plate tracking data through local police departments, letting them use it for immigration searches without needing a direct deal with the company, which has drawn mass criticism from lawmakers. Through this deal, law enforcement using Flock's platforms like Flock OS and Nova can now send video requests directly to Ring users via the Neighbors app. That means your doorbell cam footage could be part of a broader investigation, even if you weren't aware of it. Ring recently removed its app-based police request feature, which had allowed law enforcement to ask users for footage without a warrant. Now those requests must go through formal legal channels, but with Flock in the mix, agencies can still ping users for help, just through a different system. It's a significant shift that's raising privacy concerns, especially since Flock AI once claimed it could eliminate crime entirely using predictive tech and real-time data. Critics argue that such claims are not only unrealistic, but also amplify bias and overreach. But for now, everyday Americans with Ring cameras still have a choice to share or ignore requests for footage. So do you think this is a smarter way to fight crime or a step?
He's being kind of cooler about it than I. Let's see. It's just a doorbell to see who's at my door, not a robber or something, but no. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And I understand the people that do have it. They can see who's at the door, who's at the, if you can't see through the door, you can see who is and all things. I get why you have the Ring. I don't think the guy who created the Ring, who was on Shark Tank, I don't think he created for this. Now it's getting into uncharted waters. Here's a Culture Cave, an AI-powered cameras used by ICE, federal agencies, and police. Authorities can request users to share footage to assist with evidence collection, investigative work. You're from Yahoo. Amazon's Ring to partner with Flock, a network of AI cameras used by ICE, feds, and police. Pretty much the same thing you saw on NBC one. Here's the one I saw that really got it. He gets really there. Daniel Bachner channel. He put it up a couple days ago. I immediately got this. I'm not even subscribed to the guy, but I ended up getting this thing. You can look at the covers.sidewalk.amazon. That's all of the Ring doorbells that are out there. You might say, "Oh, there's nothing here." Well, nobody lives there. You see what that white is? There's nobody lives there. That's why. It's like when you see that map that we talked about was, oh, it's all red. Yeah, land doesn't vote. So all this is what's covered with Amazon. It's the whole Amazon Sidewalk thing. You guys know about this if you have it. Sidewalk bridges, and he explains what the sidewalk bridge thing is, gets into all this about the track dogs, all that stuff. And as it says in here, enabled by default. If I don't want to use Amazon Sidewalk, how do I turn it off? You can easily turn Sidewalk on or off anytime in the Alexa app's account settings or the Ring app's control center. But that's on default right now. And it gets into the partnership right here. I'll play a little bit for you. We're doing good on time, right? Yeah, you guys think let's see. Carry the twos and over.
Has been making headlines. We already know that Flock is building a network of AI and license plate recognition enabled cameras that build graphs on how we travel. Flock works with law enforcement and will release data on demand without requiring a warrant. Flock is just getting started, and according to some sources, already has over 80,000 cameras across the United States, sharing data with over 5,000 different organizations consisting of both law enforcement agencies and corporations. At the moment, these cameras scan 20 billion license plates per month in the US.
I was wrong. 20 billion. I'm sorry. I said 80 million. It's 20 billion. My apologies. I lowballed them.
Ring has now rolled out a new feature called Community Request. This gives law enforcement a direct line to request footage from your personal Ring camera. Due to the partnership with Flock, public safety agencies, as they call them, directly through the Flock platform, will be able to send these community requests to individual Ring users requesting that footage be shared with them. Imagine this. Law enforcement is investigating an individual. They use Flock's massive network of cameras to track their vehicle movements and find that they parked on the street somewhere. Now, through this partnership, they're able to send push notifications to all of the residents on that specific street, right outside where they parked, requesting that they share their Ring footage with them, so they can now continue to surveil this individual as they get out of their car and walk up the street. The level of surveillance that this partnership allows might already be unsettling to some, and we don't even know the full extent of this and what other organizations might join in on this partnership going forward. At the moment, this footage sharing feature is completely optional. They claim that if you decline the request, no footage will be shared. In fact, they say that you can even disable these notifications altogether. But of course, down the road, who knows what updates will be made to their terms of service and what functionality might move into an opt-out rather than an opt-in, similar to how the entirety of Amazon Sidewalk is opt-out as a whole. I wonder how many people are unaware that 90% of their own country's population resides in an Amazon Sidewalk covered area just because they wanted to be able to add something to their shopping list more easily. A reporter actually signed up for this Amazon Sidewalk developer kit and received what they call a coverage testing device that pings Amazon Sidewalk for coverage. This reporter went on a 40-mile drive through a national forest in South Carolina and observed sidewalk connectivity the whole way. This is surprising since Amazon Sidewalk isn't a pure mesh network. As far as I can tell, Sidewalk-enabled devices need to directly connect to a bridge with an internet connection, meaning bridges don't freely route traffic between each other. Since these systems are so new, we're starting to see some interesting cases emerge. Just 2 weeks ago, a judge in Washington state ruled that the photos that these Flock cameras take are public record. As you would imagine, cities and police departments are fighting to get this overturned. Would you rather have your complete vehicular location history only be visible to law enforcement, or to anyone that he had a lawsuit filed against them by the SurveyorView AI, which scanned people's social media profiles and then used that to track you in public? They claim to have scraped over 20 billion photos from the internet at this point, and of course, are working with law enforcement. The NYPD claims that they don't have a contract with Clearview AI, though some sources say that they're getting around this by opening up a large amount of trial accounts. Either way, this is a story for another day. In the meantime, there's actually civilian-run crowdsourced websites like dflock.me that are building a map of Flock camera locations. You can check out all of the reported Flock cameras in your area and even doorbell cameras next month in December 2025. Every time you walk past someone's house, your face might be picked up and logged on Amazon servers for the sake of improving their AI models. Of course, Ring is marketing this as a convenience feature, so it recognizes family and friends at your door. That being said, we already know how Amazon Alexa treats your data. Should we really expect Ring to treat it any differently? It's kind of crazy to me that this kind of surveillance machine is being funded and installed voluntarily by civilians just for the sake of personal convenience. Of course, a few years ago, MIT reported on an instance where someone's Roomba took photos of them on the toilet, and then these photos ended up getting leaked. This is another story for another day.
So yay. Well, that's why you tune in here, because this isn't going to be talked about by a lot of people. I'm going to check that out later. It's this just came out a couple hours ago from the same guy, so I'm going to take a look at that later. Jason Bassler, UK, we don't want your digital ID. Mexico, we don't want your digital ID. Italy, we don't want your digital ID. Switzerland, we don't want your digital ID. United States of America, oh cool, my iPhone just got digital ID. How Apple's new digital ID feature could help save time at the TSA. Yay! Here, we'll get a little bit, we'll cool our, let's get down a little bit, not as black pill right now. Okay. So now that I got you guys all worrying, like, holy cow, the Skynet just went operational. Or if you saw person of interest, yeah, with all the cameras all over the place. Yeah, that's what we got now. For the first time in 4.5 years, gas prices are averaging $3 a gallon nationally. We've got 20 states across the land where the average is actually less than $2.75 a gallon. Not that bad, not bad, not bad. Yeah, South Carolina gas prices dropped to $2.62 on average. I know right across the border for me, $2.49 the other day. I've heard of others saying that's $1.80 in some spots. So hey, good. Keep the ball moving. And we don't have to blow up Venezuela for it now, but hey, it's a good start. Lawmakers suggest follow-up boat strike could be a war crime. Top Republicans have joined Democrats in demanding answers about the escalating military campaign the Trump administration says is aimed at targeting drug traffickers. Trump's MRI scan results released as president had cardiovascular checks. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt has released the MRI results. mRNA. I say mRNA way more than I say MRIs. And apparently he's fine, I guess. It's just nothing. What are they going to say? Oh, he's dying. He's got a heart that's about to explode. Breaking. The Israeli army has banned Android phones. iPhones are now mandatory, says the Jerusalem Post. Now, they don't have a link on here, which I was trying to find. But Megatron's usually good on things like this. Here's Trump the other day. To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed for its entirety. Thank you for your attention. I don't know what authority he has on blocking the air travel over a sovereign nation, but hey, what stopped him anyways from doing that? What is this? White House confirms HeadSec authorized second strike on drug boat. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt confirmed Monday that Secretary Pete Hegseth, get the pop-ups out of here, authorized the second follow-up strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean in September, following the bombshells Washington Post report that claimed he ordered the military to kill everybody. Leavitt told reporters at the White House press briefing that Hegseth authorized Admiral Frank Bradley to carry out the second strike, which reportedly killed 2 people who were hanging onto the burning vessel after the initial strike. Trump and Hegseth has made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war, which apparently laws of war. Now we care about laws of war? Shut up. When did that start? We just blew people up without a declaration of war. The rules of engagement, all that stuff was thrown out the window. Now we laws of war? Come on. Surely you jest. Trump the whole Venezuela Oval Office meeting amid growing questions about his military moves. That was a few hours ago, very early this evening. White House gives Maduro ultimatum as U.S. moves towards land operations. Pretty much regime change or we're going to kill you. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and get that out of the way. Generals, they get in their messes just like witches at black masses. Trump declares closure of Venezuela Air Base. Senator Kane says he'll reintroduce the Venezuela War Powers Resolution. In pardon of narco trafficker, Trump destroys case for war. Oh yeah, did you see that? Yeah, he pardoned. It appears more important to the White House that the party of convicted Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez wins Sunday's final election. I got some more on this. They're going out of their way to make sure this guy wins. The Trump administration has literally killed more than 80 suspected drug smugglers by blowing their small boats out of the water since September. But this week, the president has reportedly decided to pardon one of the biggest cocaine traffickers of them all. If that doesn't make any sense to you, then join the club. The news that Trump is going to pardon Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was sentenced to 45 years in U.S. prison just last year, came as a shocker. The White House has said repeatedly that drug traffickers are narco-terrorists, except the ones we like, who are waging war on America, justifying their killing the boats every time. Yet Hernandez was convicted of conspiring to import 500,000 kilos of coke into these United States and stuff it right up the noses of the gringos. And Trump says, quote, "Congratulations to Juan Orlando Hernandez on your upcoming pardon. Good night, everybody." Seriously. Trump accuses Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of conspiring to flood the United States with deadly drugs and through the dubious cartel of the Suns. But far from pardoning Maduro or praising his acolytes like he promises with Hernandez, Trump has brought us closer to a U.S.-led military intervention in Latin America than we've been in 35 years by threatening airstrikes against Venezuela territory. We assume the difference here is politics, do you think? And ideology. Maduro is a socialist and doesn't want to do business with Washington. Hernandez was tolerated, if not preferred, by previous U.S. administrations from Obama through the first Trump White House because he and his National Party were business-friendly, anti-communist, and supported by the neoconservatives now gunning against Maduro. This is laughable, as one guy said. Yeah. Israeli military kills 2 young brothers in Gaza. Israel's Ben Gvir promotes officer after execution. Remember that I didn't show it, but they ended up putting this guy on and capped him in the head twice on camera. Israel mulls escalation in Syria after major attack. The report U.S. wants an unexploded bomb Israel dropped on Lebanon. U.S. and Ukrainian officials holds talk in Florida. Hey, come on down. Here is Venezuela strikes very probable going to occur over the course of this week, warns ex-NATO Supreme Allied Commander. Smell that in the air? That's the smell that we're about to bomb somebody. Military police storm ballot recount rooms and expel international observers as Trump-backed presidential frontrunners win. Still not official. Honduras polls just closed to count votes. Huh. That's the whole thing about the Russia interference on elections. You remember all that? We can't have that. Foreign interference of elections. No, we can't have that. But we can do it. We do it a lot. Trump-backed Palestinian Honduran presidential frontrunner won't declare himself winner, but we know our numbers as Honduran election polls close. It's kind of like, you remember the Jack, what's his name? Tom Clancy movie, Jack Ryan. The second Jack Ryan series on Amazon. I think it was Venezuela. I don't think it was Honduras. But they ended up, it was the last thing they did was they ended up, the guy in charge closed down all the votes because he was about to lose. Here's Whitney Webb, the Trump and Malay-backed candidate in today's presidential elections in Honduras. I don't know how many people even know this is going on. Nasri Asfura is a direct of the globalist NGO called CC35 that is aiming to impose an inter-American carbon market and smart grid. It is basically the Latin America equivalent of Michael Bloomberg's C40 days, but on steroids. It is dominated mainly by right-leaning politicians in Latin America as opposed to Western progressives. It is also one of the rare Latin America NGOs where you will have the Nayib Bukele ally and other Trump-backed politicians serving alongside communists in service to the same goal. Mark Goodwin, and I reported it on CC35 and Asfura's ties to it in April 2024 as the NGO he helps lead was attempting to impose a predatory carbon market known as Green Plus Project, as well as an intercontinental smart grid to facilitate smart cities in North, Central, and South America alongside an Argentine company called Satellogic. Satellogic is deeply tied to the current Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who helped pioneer carbon trending at Cantor Fitzgerald, former Trump Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and Argentine oligarch and big-time Malay supporter Marcos Galperin, among others. Satellogic is also intimately tied to the stablecoin Tether, as is Lutnick, of course, which is poised to become an intercontinental currency of the Americas and a covert weapon of de facto dollarization. The rightward shift in Latin America is not stopping the rapid approach of technocracy and one world governance. You are being sold politicians who portray an obstinately anti-globalist message and promises of nebulous freedom, while they are instead creating the infrastructure for the dystopia they claim to be against. Instead of fighting it, they are planning to maximize profit from its imposition. If you'd like to know more about CC35 and Green Plus, you can read Mark and my article below. Green Plus is the model for the new financial energy system. You'll see an attempted rollout of globally between now and 2030. There's death from above, the carbon credit soup. It's in this article, and that article is a long article too, by the way. Yeah, Amy, I get that. Yeah, 100%. Have you checked out some of Brendan O'Connell's material? Webb stole some of his material. No, I have not seen Brendan O'Connell's material. Yeah. I haven't read the books. I was just talking about the Amazon series on that. 11 U.S. warships and 15,000 troops now in Caribbean as Venezuela tensions escalate. College student deported when flying home for Turkey Day despite court order. Student heartbroken after being sent to Honduras. Maybe he had to go vote. That's what they were doing. They were kidnapping people so they can go back and vote for their friend. Student heartbroken after being sent to Honduras while trying to travel from Boston to Texas, attorney says. College freshman trying to fly from Boston to Texas to surprise her family for Thanksgiving. She must be one of those worst of the worst. Was instead deported to Honduras in violation of a court order, according to the attorney. Amy Lucia Lopez Benoza, 19, had already passed through security at Boston Logan International Airport on 20 November when she was told that there was an issue with her boarding pass. Yeah. She's absolutely heartbroken. Her college dreams has just been. According to ICE, an immigration judge ordered her to be deported in 2015. Palmolero says she wasn't aware of any removal orders, and the only record she has found indicates her case was closed in 2017. They're holding her responsible for something they claimed happened a decade ago, and she's completely unaware of, and not showing any proof. A smartphone before age 12 could carry health risks, studies say. Yeah, it's shocking. Higher rates of depression, poor sleep, and obesity among tweens who had early access to a cell phone. So it makes them, because the blue light screws with their eye, keeps them from going to sleep. They're probably lazy by just sitting on their playing on the dumb thing all day long. And yeah, I wonder why. Gee, in other news, water is wet. And on top of that, if you're a parent that gives your kid a smartphone before the age 12, I question your parenting abilities. Breaking. Here's from SARS-CoV-2 website. This is the real website. Or Twitter page. Breaking. Scientists warn H5N1 bird flu is mutating faster than ever. The virus spreading across the world and mutating into an expanding family of viral strains unlike anything seen before. Translation, they didn't get the right model the first hand. They are trying to kill more people with this. There's a link, a mutating threat. Scientists warn H5N1 bird flu is evolving faster than ever. Yeah, develop a vaccine quick. Oh, they already did. Make it mandatory. Oh, they already did. They've tried this 5 times already. How to spot a psy-op. Speed and uniformity. Emotion first, facts later. Solution before the problem. Follow the benefits. Simple heroes and villains. Costco sues the Trump administration seeking a refund of tariffs. The wholesaler is the latest company to sue the federal agency over the president's signature economic policy. Costco has sued Trump, blah, 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 blah. The company said a filing Friday that is seeking full refund because it just makes everything, more expensive. I don't know. It's cheap. Also, thanks for doing daily ups. Yeah. Yeah, Sean, you're welcome, man. It's I try to make it fun. Try to find things that people aren't looking for, and definitely not the same old stuff that you can just get on regular TV. Hey, I mean, how many of us are talking about Flock? I ask guys all the time when the bigger names or that talk about just go TLM and all that. I go, okay, geniuses. When they incorporate all this stuff, what is your plan? I've asked that for over a year, and none of those guys have given me a plan yet. They have nothing. They absolutely have no idea they don't know what this is. They don't have a clue what's going on. They just say, go do it. Even though it's like, all right, in the future, they're trying to keep you from ever driving 20 minutes away from your house. How are you going to get 60 minutes away? No one has a clue. None. I mean, the only solution that really for this is move closer to a parish, and obviously grow your own food, because outside of that, it's going to get so bad. They're already talking. You're not even going to have work. You get the UBI, digital ID for everything. So if you want to do any kind of commerce, you have to have the digital ID. Probably have to have a facial rec and all that. Then on top of that, with the credit scores, how many think you're going to make that? I mean, it's going to be nuts. That's if we make it's after all the wars we get in. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I'll digress. The internet reacts to Laura Loomer's getting a desk at the Pentagram. She had to get her Botox. Every morning she gets up and get her Botox. That's what Whitney coming under fire for. Thanks for the bad news. What do we do? Well, I mean, again, I try to bring this into the idea of like, what do you do? All right, I'm giving you the bad news and trying to give you solutions on things like this, like the whole thing about food. Learn to grow your own food. Learn to sew. We get those ideas back in the day that we had before, because there's going to be a time you might not be able to buy clothing. You might not be able to buy without the digital ID or currency and credit score and carbon tax, all that stuff. If they even make it anymore, or you don't know what they're even in the materials to begin with. Like they just had an article just the other day, and I did a whole thing on basil on my gardening channel. Why grow? My thing on that one was why grow your own herbs, because you know what's in it. It won't be complete. It won't be full of metals and things like that. They just did a thing a couple days ago where they found metals and things like that in regular spices. Again, if you want your spices to be completely organic and healthy, you don't have to grow your own, which ain't that hard. You just have to, when it goes dormant, like right now, and like or the oregano or cilantro is growing right now because they can do the cold, but basil won't grow in the cold. But so you grow a lot of it, and then be able to dry it and be able to use it throughout the winter, because that's how people were able to. How do you eat throughout the winter back in the day? Was you grew enough in the summer and fall and spring to be able to use it throughout the time. And there's stuff that grows now like kale, lettuce. There's some cold lettuce that can grow in this. Radishes, carrots, especially carrots with sweet carrots. You're getting it right now. The cold makes it sweet. And there's some fruits that would do it, like pomegranates, fruit around now, are fruiting right now. So I mean, there's stuff you can do. It's just being able to, getting the idea to do it, just having the umption to go do it too. See, but that's the easy one. Yeah, learn how to grow. You can learn how to grow if you have potatoes and say you want vodka, and then you're like, oh no, you're alcoholic. No, you can use vodka for tinctures. So you got the tincture, make your own medicine. So there's ways you can make your own vodka by the potatoes. There's a guy actually on YouTube shows you how to do all that. You can make your own heaters. There's a guy heater did with he had a copper line, I think it was, and he was cooking that thing up. And so you can make some heaters. Or a candle. You can have a candle thing with what's those what's those pots, those orange pots. I forget the names of them. I usually don't get them because they're too expensive. But you put those pots over the candle, and that thing heats up. You got a heater right there. There's all kinds of things, tricks and trades. Mullen. I mean, I'm trying to grow mullen on one side of the house and lambs are on the other side of the house. Lambs there is like a good way for band-aids, and mullen's a good way if you have respiratory issues or anything like that. You can smoke it, put it in a hot bath and breathe it in, tincture it, all kinds of stuff. You just got to be able to learn how to do. You just can't just go one. Eventually, everyone's going to have to start learning how to do that. Grow your own tomatoes. This is easy. It was a stupid easy. Basil. I'm just working on the fruits right now. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do it the hard way and just pots, because I know if I put it in the ground, it'd be easier. Well, just like mulberry. Nobody knows much about mulberry. It's easier to grow for fruit than blueberries, blackberries, strawberries even. That thing would just grow and fruit. And it's very sweet. But even the leaves are highly nutritious, protein loaded, all kinds of antioxidants. You cook it like spinach. You can tincture it. The whole darn tree is fantastic, and it grows like a weed, and it's all over the place. Just great. If you have any kind of garden, just buy some kind of mulberry tree and plant them all over the place. You're going to have free fruit for the rest of your life. And then grab some of the leaves, cook it up, and that's nature's little nature's medicine right there. Oh, by the way, bamboo. Go to David the Good. Check out his bamboo show. You can do all kinds of things with bamboo: fires, builds, make things. You even can eat bamboo. I had no clue about that. America's top 5 most sinful cities. That's interesting. What do we have on here? Who is the top 5? I'm scared to hit the next button. Well, Sin City, Las Vegas, 1. Houston, Texas, number 2. Number 3, LA. Number 4, Philadelphia. Shocker. Not shocked at all. I thought it'd be actually number 2. Atlanta. Gen Z is obsessed with renting. From dresses to strollers to wine glasses, renting lives in Gen Zers' heads rent-free. Renting lives in Gen Zers' heads rent-free. Remember that line, you will own nothing and be happy? There we go. As a buddy of mine said at the gym one time, if they would just hold off for like 15 more years, this would have been easy. They would have gone everyone and no one would have fought. It'd been like, beep. Yeah, that would have been the return fight. Everyone would have just fallen over for for the World Economic Forum Great Reset. They waited another decade, 15 years. They would have rolled over and taken everyone out with them. No fight at all. But yeah, just because these guys are totally cool with just renting everything. Spain deploys army after African swine fever outbreak. Spain on Monday deployed more than 100 troops. Good grief, that's an insurrection right there. To help contain an outbreak of African swine fever outside Barcelona that has sparked fears of the country's powerful pork export. What is 100 troops going to do? Shoot everyone? That's one way to contain things. They're joining 300 Catalan regional officers deployed at the Calasarola Natural Park, where 2 dead boars that tested positive for the disease was found last week, Spain's first case since 1994. 117 officials from the Army's emergencies unit would carry on work with drones, disinfection. Can you see the Army? Here comes the Army. And they got Lysol sprays. Where's your weapon? I got it right here. Yes. There's actually some bamboo that doesn't get out of control. Again, check out David's thing. He talks about the non-out of control bamboo. Let's see. No more stories about my failed farming. At the same time, it has some beautiful crops. Everyone failed. You see that there's some guys online that they got hundreds of thousands of views. And they have some. Everyone fails because I mean they don't know the geoengineering of the weather kills their crops. They don't know what's going on. But it's a little bit different. It's different right now than it was 50 years ago because now you didn't have to deal with the geoengineering then. You do now because every time you like peach trees, for example, peach tree. That's one thing about the pomegranates. Peaches, if you have the flowers come out early spring, and then always a frost comes in afterwards, and it kills them all. It kills all the frost. Pomegranate can get right through it. Now you got to make sure you don't get the astringent one because if you have the astringent one, then you eat the pomegranate, you're going to feel like you got a cotton mouth. I actually had one. Doesn't taste that great. 3 out of 4 California Now you have a good one. It tastes good. You can eat it like an apple, and you make sure the non-astringent. You just when it feels like a tomato, you just eat it like an apple. It tastes great. You don't. You get the wrong one. It tastes bad. 3 out of 4 California's families with young kids can't afford at least one basic need. Here's Nick Garreley of the Reventure app. He talks about the U.S. housing market is about to hit high with a big demographic shift. By 2032, there will be more deaths than births in these United States. So obviously, figure that out. When you have less people and more dying, less births and more dying, that's going to drive the more inventory up. You're going to have a big crash down there because not enough people to buy a house. And here's Japan unveils a new self-sizing sneaker pod they claim will change buying shoes forever. I don't know how that, what? I guess it sews it on itself. And this week, watch that. Everybody moves to the back of the bus. Outcast. 1955, Rosa Parks' refusal to relinquish her bus seat in Montgomery, Alabama. 2000, Vincent Fox inaugurated as president of Mexico, ending the dominance of the Institutional Revolutionary Party, which had ruled since 1929. 1988, the first World AIDS Day was held. 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed by 12 countries, doing absolutely nothing, making the Antarctic continent a demilitarized zone to be preserved for scientific research. 1925, Germany, France, Belgium, Great Britain, and Italy signed the Pact of Larcano, a series of agreements intended to guarantee peace in Western Europe. That's going out the window. 1913, the world's first moving assembly line debuted, using and manufacturing Model Ts in the Ford factory in Highland Park, Michigan. 1825, Russian Emperor Alexander I died unexpectedly in southern Russia. Wow. You hear a lot of people dying unexpectedly nowadays. Imagine that back then. 1814, General Andrew Jackson, commander of the U.S. Army of the Southwest, hastened to defend New Orleans, Louisiana against British invasion. A series of skirmishes over the next few weeks culminated in the Battle of New Orleans, which, if you know anything about Our Lady of Prompt Succor, that's where we get that. That's the Ursuline nuns ended up writing a letter to. It was a whole story. Just look up Our Lady of Prompt Succor on the YouTube channel. You'll get a whole story of that. It happened at the Battle of New Orleans, and saved the town. There's even Jefferson mentioned that about that that it was helped save everything. Then I'm sorry, I'm running out of mindset. 1761, Maria Toussaint, the founder of Madame Toussaint's Museum of Wax Figurines, was born in France. Colby Center creation, yeah. Jackson. He wasn't the greatest there. He was trying to. He tried to invade South Carolina. That was one of the first secession. Not one of the first secession movements. One of the first nullification movements, because South Carolina didn't like it, and Jackson wanted to invade South Carolina. Almost broke up the Union then because of that. Anyways, have a great rest of the day. God love you. And SensusFidelium.tv. Check out for the app. I got all the first week of Advent up. Obviously, all the Sundays for Byzantine and East and Western rites. Obviously, Saint of the Days all this week, all up there. Check it out. All the last one, the new releases are already posted. Have a great rest of the night. Click like, subscribe, all that jazz. Talk to you later and see you tomorrow for Told You So Tuesday, which pretty much every day seems like a Told You So day. Anyway, talk to you later.